Learning to talk about your work is really important in language learning because even if you don't intend to use the language for work, it's a topic that comes up all the time when you meet people, when you have conversations. People talk about what they do for a living, right? So this is the fastest way to learn to speak about your work. So you take this prompt and you substitute this part here with as much information as possible about your job or business or whatever you do. And the more details you write, the better, because then the questions will be more personalized, and you'll be able to write more. So basically, I don't know, I'm a mechanic. I fix cars and trucks, for example. I'm not, but otherwise, it'd just be like me talking about language learning again, and I want this to look a little bit different. This part is important. Again, don't change this because it's otherwise questions are going to be very difficult for a beginner. So 100, but A1, A2 level is good for conversation, right? Comprehension is different, but for conversation, that's going to be enough. Let's go. And you get a lot of basic questions. And now you simply have to take this, go to your language islands, paste this there, all these questions, and then you answer them one by one. You, what do you do? I'm a mechanic. Fix cars. Yes, I am a mechanic. Do you fix cars? And the more you write, the better, right? The more details, the better. Obviously, I'm not a mechanic, so I can't really give you much detail here. But again, I didn't want to talk about language learning again. So do you work on weekends? Some of the questions will be useless or not all that useful. Just you can simply delete those. A lot of them will be useful, so you can then learn the questions and the answers. Do not or try not to answer with like monosyllabic answers, like no, yes, or no, or maybe. Like, yes, I do X, Y, Z. Because do you use a computer? Yes. No. Yes, I use a computer a lot when I'm working. Because if you give that kind of answers, you then learn to ask this question, but also you learn to give a proper answer, and it's a statement. You don't you want to learn the sentence. You want to learn how to say it, not just yes. Yeah. So if even if they don't ask, someone starts talking about computers, and you're like, I use a computer a lot when I'm working, because you learned it as an answer to this. But if you just learned to use a computer, yes, then you're not able to say that. All right. So try to answer with complete sentences. Do you use a computer? Yes, I use a computer. Or I use a computer a lot. When the more detail, the better. And you do that for all the questions that seem useful. And if you get more ideas as well for more questions and answers, add it as well. All right. Don't just be limited to the questions you get from AI. Now you paste this on your language island spreadsheet. Use the translation code, translate it into the target language, create audio files using text to speech software, and start doing all the exercises, listening while reading, shadowing, and then active recall. And now you've learned, in a day or two, you've learned a lot of sentences to be able to talk about your work. And this is not exactly the same as speaking at work. That would be another language island or another set of language islands, because talking about something and um, the things you say when talking about something you do and the things you say while doing that thing are not exactly the same. So we'll learn sentences to use at work as well later on. But usually, most people talk more about their work than they do at work when learning languages, unless you move to a country and you really need to learn the language for work. In that case, what you need to do is, and we'll do this later on, instead of this kind of prompt, I'm a mechanic, I'm at work right now doing this XYZ, uh, and instead of the questions, then you need other, like, give me questions a client would ask, or my manager would ask, and or give me possible situations. We'll work on that later on. But this is just to be able to talk about your work. All right.